Welcome, wandering soul. You've found your way to me again, Violet Nocturne, keeper of tormenting secrets, whisperer of haunting dreams. Tonight, I have a story to tell. A story of artistry twisted, ambitions betrayed, and creations weaponized. I call it the Forgotten Artists Gallery. Our tale begins in the rain-slicked streets of Paris. Not the Paris of illuminated monuments and lovers' locks, but the Paris lost to time. Cobbled alleys steeped in shadows, thickened air heavy with the metallic tang of ambition. Here, we meet Elise, a struggling artist, her dreams of acclaim slipping away like ink bleeding on water. Her studio was small, no more than a haphazard den atop a decrepit building. But oh, you wouldn't say that to her face. That room, to Elise, was a palace of hopes dashed against unyielding canvas. One day, she discovered it. Not inspiration, no. Something far darker. Something that came wrapped in muslin cloth and tethered in whispers of lore. Elise was scavenging through an open-air market in Montmartre. Rows of second-hand treasures forgotten by time. It was there she first saw it. A paintbrush. To anyone else, it was ordinary. Wooden, slightly chipped, bristles worn. But when Elise touched it, something akin to static tingled through her skin. An old woman, the vendor, offered her a warning. Tools like this, they take as much as they give. But hunger for creation is like hunger for food. It consumes you. So Elise bought it, paying no heed to the woman's refusal to take her money. The brush, it seemed, had chosen her. At first, its promises seemed divine. Overnight, Elise's works transformed from passable sketches to pieces that pulsed with lifelike vibrancy, paintings that felt alive. Her landscapes were no mere imitations of nature. They lured the eye and ensnared the senses. Her portraits didn't just capture a likeness, they captured the soul. The art world noticed, of course. Critics flocked, patrons competed to commission her next creation. A solo exhibit loomed on the horizon, a crowning glory for Elise, though she was always too humble to claim that aloud. But art, precious viewer, is a mirror, and you know better than anyone that a mirror cannot lie. Late at night, as the rain streaked her windows like tears, Elise began to notice things. Painted flowers decaying days after drying, portraits smiling when her back was turned, a self-portrait hurriedly done for the exhibit that seemed to twitch as though alive. That cursed brush had no ordinary pigment. It fed off her essence, her life itself, and left echoes of her deepest fears embedded within the canvas. Then came the nightmares, dreams filled with her paintings enveloping her in veils of color so suffocating they felt tangible. Waking, Elise noticed dry, cracking skin, fingers decrepit, as though time had finally caught her by the wrist and dragged her forward too fast. Her body mirrored the decaying blooms within her art, and yet she could not stop. The brush called to her in murmurs, invisible strings pulling her to paint. Her work ceased being an expression of her soul and instead became an engraving of her torment. Now comes the night of the solo exhibition. The gallery was packed, champagne flutes clinking amidst the hum of admiration for her genius. Critics spared no hyperbole, patrons fawned, desperate to purchase, but Elise stood apart, distant, haunted. You see, artist though she was, even she did not yet know what a monster she had birthed within those frames. Then, the self-portrait. Ah, yes. The piece de résistance. How proud they'd been when Elise unveiled it, lifelike as a dream, breathtaking and alarming. But as whispers grew, the celebrated artwork moved. Oh, dear souls, I don't mean illusions of movement, but true, undeniable motion. The painted version of Elise turned her head, her eyes locking onto its real-world counterpart. Merci, it whispered. Its voice resonated through the gallery, as cold as the grave, and stepped from the frame. Gasps echoed, laughter dimmed, feet shuffled backward. Panic. Chaos born of disbelief. But not Elise. She stood transfixed as her painted doppelganger approached, vibrant, ageless, yet glittering with malice. "You fed me," it said, now inches from Elise's trembling form. "And I have become." The next moments? Oh, exquisite pandemonium. Paintings tearing from the walls, ornamental yet violent. An enchanted forest scene strangled a critic in canopies of vines. A portrait burst into flames, roaring laughter consuming the patrons nearby. Paintings, they say, froze their admirers within themselves. The gallery became a battleground. Elise's doppelganger offered cold serenity, a tilted head, a whisper. You knew the warnings. They found the gallery 3 days later. Silent, empty, not a soul. Yet traces of them remained. A misstep in the room bore the faint echo of champagne laughter. A brushstroke on an empty canvas bore a portrait of each visitor that night, crowded together, trapped in raw strokes of color. And Elise? No one saw her again. Some claim she's still painting, her creations wandering the world, searching for their next master. This is where I leave you, at the precipice of knowing. Have you, perhaps, glanced at a portrait recently? Felt its gaze lingering far too long? Mind your brushes, sweet soul. Some art is far too alive. Until next time, I am Violet Nocturne, and this is where the dark echoes.